Hey everyone, how's it going today? And welcome back to another update. So we have some really great and we have also some not so great news, but I do think collectively overall it's relatively hopeful news. But at the end of the day, I think most importantly is that it's information that probably needs to be shared. And we're actually just going to start right on the spot. So the not so good news maybe to start is that some of you guys may have already heard from other updates, or if not, then this is the update you're going to hear, is that it is true actually that Joe Manchin has officially come out to say that the Build Back Better plan is something that he sees as basically dead. So that is maybe the not. Now granted, there was already a lot of mixed opinions. Some people, never supported the Build Back Better to begin with. And, feel free to share any comments or opinions about this because there is a very wide range of it. So that is maybe the news to put out there. But the brand new, maybe great or certainly more hopeful news to share, maybe especially if you're watching this on release day to go out into the weekend, is that he has also now officially just come out that what's going on is that they are currently inside of Congress working on trying to put together a brand new skinny bill. It still right now has not been released, but maybe that's a good thing in a way because it also does mean that they're trying to work on it, so hopefully it can actually become a good bill. But one of the brand new information that has recently been released is that Joe Manchin has also now said is that he is actually now willing to support the skinny bill if, and the keyword is if, as long as certain changes happen, such as about the tax code. Now, there are other kinds of things that he wants to change up, so it's not just the tax code, but that's certainly one of the biggest things. But I think overall, the really, really great and certainly hopeful news is that there's at least something he supports. It's that he at least communicates it, because there are sometimes politicians that, will not like something, but will never say what they don't like. You might have even experienced this in real life. Sometimes you might deal with people that, they kind of develop a grudge or something like that, and they don't feel easy, but then the problem is that they don't actually tell you what's going on, so you're kind of forced to read their minds. And this could be just even in real life in general. So the big idea is that he's at least being a little bit clear. So in today's update, I want to talk all about that. I do have some brand new unemployment info to just generally share out there, and so we're going to get right to it. So as always, before we begin, real fast, just 10 seconds, consider smashing the like button because at least we're talking about something good and hopeful. Consider subscribing if you're interested in similar videos, especially as we get more updates. And as always, feel free to comment any questions, maybe thoughts about the situation, or honestly just really anything at all. So with that being said, let's get this video started. So as just mentioned, is that the big idea is that Manchin, as just mentioned, is willing to support the stimulus program, maybe just, to put it out there because there's a lot of mixed opinions about it. However, he just wants a lot of the things that he specifically wants to be included inside of the bill. We did talk about some of these programs, such as about like climate change and other kinds of like energy related programs. Of course, because we already talked about it, we won't talk about that as much in this video. I'll put a video at the very, very end screen if you want to hear about the other stuff that he believes. I think the video is literally just called Manchin Speaks because it's literally about what Manchin speaks or has said about it. But the new information is that another thing that he wants now actually relates to everything related to the tax code. And the big idea, maybe the important background story to what this is that back during the President Donald Trump's, presidential era, in 2017, they ended up actually approving a policy or like a bill that essentially is aimed at helping a lot of corporations to reduce their taxes. And obviously we know, objectively speaking, regardless of political party, and we have a very mixed group here, which I think is awesome, so we can get a lot of different perspectives. Feel free to comment. But objectively speaking, most Republicans are against raising taxes. If anything, they actually want to lower taxes. So Joe Manchin, one of the biggest goals that he has officially come out to speak is that what he wants, or one of the things that he wants, is to basically essentially try to bring back and restart that tax code that was approved in 2017 once again. And I think that's the big important thing about politics is that, there's always constant heat between two sides, but at the end of the day, politics is also not always a very black and white thing. It's a grayscale. That's why you have some Democrats that can actually sometimes still support some Republican ideals, and you have some Republicans that can actually very much support some Democratic ideals. In this situation, Joe Manchin is obviously a Democrat, but there are still some Republican values that he does support, such as like the tax code situation that we literally just mentioned. So I think the big idea is that if they're able to try to compromise and negotiate from everything that we mentioned in one of the previous videos, once again at the end screen, and then with the tax code, then I think that it's believed they will be making a lot of progress and steps in trying to basically really press to get this thing going forward. And I think the other big thing also is that at the end of the day, there are a lot of people I know that are very uneasy about the Joe Manchin situation, and there's reason to be. I think it's very, very understandable. At the end of the day, the child tax credit extensions, a lot of the other social security programs, that he was the person that was very, very much responsible for why a lot of this stuff happened. But I think the other big thing, maybe it's important to just maybe put out there, is that I do believe, however, that having Joe Manchin as a Democrat is still actually a very, very important thing to getting agendas approved. And the real big reason why is because even though it is true he might have a lot of Republican ideals, and even though it is true even a lot of people in his own party like AOC are currently attacking him for everything that's going on, just by having that D in his name that's next to it, it is still influential, because it means that within just Congress in general, especially the Senate, it means that by having 50 Democrats and 50 Republicans inside, it means that pretty much the reconciliation process is even possible. And if not for his title next to that name, this is something that would not have even been able to really go through. That is really the biggest reason why the second stimulus package, if you guys remember from, that is wild to think, almost like, I guess I was going to say 2 years, but a little bit over 1 year ago. That is the reason why the second stimulus package took significantly longer than the third stimulus package to approve. And it's exactly for this reason. Because back then, we had a much more balanced, spread out Congress. But when you are able to now have a Congress that, they were able to complete the blue wave, that is the reason why they were able to even do reconciliation and have it so we didn't have to pull the 60 votes, but can approve things with only 50 votes. And hopefully, I think all of us can maybe hopefully agree here that I think all of us are hopefully at least happy that we got a third stimulus pack. We hope for a fourth stimulus check and package, but at least we do have the third package at the very least. And that was something that gave us unemployment for another like 6 months. And actually technically 9, because it took it all the way, but it started in March. But the idea is several months and several $1,000s inside of our pockets, and something all of us hopefully can agree on. But beyond that is I really just want to maybe end this to talk a little bit about the unemployment situation now that we are on that topic. And it's really about the fact that this morning, if you're watching this on release date, the brand new jobs report did officially come out right here. And the news that's, I guess, breaking, if you follow this, what's going on is that they ended up finding out for the new jobs report that in the month of January, they officially added 467,000 jobs. So even with the Omicron situation, they were able to create more jobs for all of just basically American citizens and people, and it was actually well beyond what they originally estimated, which is 150,000. So they really, really were able to create a lot of jobs. Now, of course, the quality of the jobs, it's very, debatable. Feel free to also comment about that, because there's a lot of people that are talking about that, even if they create a lot of jobs, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is or that it doesn't, that the quality of jobs are going to be there. And that is something that I think is important that we've talked about on our channel, that I think is a very common misconception, is that A lot of this has been about trying to survive unemployment, but it has also been about trying to help people actually find employment. That's why we did make a couple videos that talk about the job hunting process, so I'll definitely put that at the end screen. It'll probably be at the top of the thumbnail at the at the very end. But the goal really has also been about trying to find quality jobs, since at the end of the day, there is a lot more to life than just grinding and working all day, especially if it feels like we're literally just on a hamster wheel that's going over and over and over again. Now, maybe one also important news to share is that the unemployment rates also did recently come out, and they did actually admittedly go up. I believe is that they estimated around like the upper 3% range was going to be the unemployment rate. It actually ended up spiking to 4%. So we are now starting to see an increase in that. But I think maybe the significance of everything that, was based off of the data is really about what this really shows is that it means that the good or not so good news, depending on, again, as we mentioned, but the general news is that it means that they are creating a lot of jobs out there, but it also does mean that many of these jobs aren't being taken. That's the reason why, they're creating lots of jobs, but the unemployment rate is still very, very much going up. So it means that there's lots of jobs available, certainly more so than before, but there's also even more people that are just not physically taking those jobs and trying to go do, or basically stay in the job hunting process, or just basically trying to deal or get through all sorts of different things that are happening inside of our country right now. But beyond that is that that's what I really wanted to share in today's update. So lots of information that's coming out. I do think most people feel that stimulus and unemployment, it's very, very uncertain. But I also do believe, less talked about, is that even if we don't see traditional stimulus and unemployment, there are still a lot of programs that are likely, and that actually already exist out there, and hopefully even more to come, that at the end of the day, hopefully accomplishes the thing that we all mostly care about, which is about putting money inside of our pockets, or reducing the amount of money taken out of our pockets through things like tax cut. And hopefully that's something we universally can all really feel the same about. But with that being said, if you guys made it this far, huge thanks for watching through. Consider subscribing, consider smashing the like button if you guys hopefully found it insightful. Huge thanks to everyone that made it through, and hope to see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much again, and also have a great weekend if you guys are watching on release day.